Hi, we're about to start, everyone, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, my lovelies. So I'm Lizzie from Love from Lizzie, and we are live today. Very excited to see so many people have already joined in. Hello, hello. Okay, so just in case you didn't quite catch the enthusiasm from the unboxing, I love this kit. We just on the 19th, so just last week on Thursday, released our Sleepy Seas, and this is like my spirit animal of card kits because I love blue. Blue, it's what I wear. It's the decoration of my house when I can get away with it. It's blue. Everything's blue, and the sea. Grown up as a sailor, so anyway. It's not about me, it's about the kit. It's gorgeous. I'm really, really excited to play. And today we're going to make a one sheet wonder. So I keep moving back and forth. Do I go back to a one sheet wonder that I've done historically just to show how using a different collection can really pick up and make it look special and different? Or do I keep coming up with a new one? And I decided to come up with a new one. But I think I am going to start revisiting because some of the one sheet wonders, particularly that we've done historically, are so pretty. Now, I'm going to use kit paper. I will run through a couple of the papers from our add-on packs that would work really nicely as well because they have sold like bonkers. We've had to restock those twice over the weekend. So that's been really nice. The fact that we manufacture means that we're able to do that with our paper pads, so I'm very pleased. But we're going to use some ephemera. I saw these on my desk, and these are the two die cuts that I did to show how beautiful the anchor and the helm die are. So I think I might use these just because they're cut and they're pretty. They're not part of the kit, obviously, but you can use ephemera. There's the stamps. There's plenty of things. I'm just going to have a play around and see where we go. So I'm going to flip you that way. Come on, boy. There we go. Although my face isn't there. Why is my face not there? There I am. Hello. Right. So, Sleepy Seas. It's beautiful. Right. I'm going to pull out the pattern papers and we will pop these all to one side. Now, before I actually dig into this, I'm just going to super quick mention our brand new Sleepy Seas studio kit. So this that we are looking at here is the card kit. This is all encompassing. This is for those that like to design their own cards or that like to see inspiration and go off on their own twist, that really like the heavy embellishments. They're a little bit on the unusual side. This card kit is obviously, it's my baby. This is what Love from Lizzie's founded on. But this, I've been doing quite a lot of driving. I'm gonna have my dad here very soon, and it's really nice to be able to craft whilst chatting, whilst having a bit of headspace. And so I thought, I know, we'll come up with a kit that is more assembly so that you end up with really beautiful cards at the end of it, but that's really straightforward. So you've got exactly the pieces of ephemera you need. You've got all of your lovely die cut shapes and pieces. You've got strips of peel-offs so that you can decorate. And you've also got this fabulous little book, which I'm super proud of. Being that I was not a graphic designer, this I was super proud of. So I hope everybody doesn't mind me giving myself a little bit of a pat on the back for that. But the cards that come out of it, I had so much fun designing. So they're quite simple, but they're very easy to assemble. All you need is glue, foam tape, and scissors, and the scissors are only so that you can just snip off some ends here and there. But these are the 6 cards that you can make with the studio kit. Now these papers are not included in your card kit. So they are different. So if you do get the card kit, getting the studio kit means that your cards will be different. So yeah, and they've been really super popular. I'm so pleased because I'm hoping that we get to do this every month if everybody enjoys. So that's our little studio kit. And depending on whether or not people want it, please pop it in the comments. If you've got one, or if you're thinking about it, would you like to see me live put them all together? You may want to, you may not, like entirely up to you, but I have scheduled this month's lives now. So you know where you are, you know which days, what video is going to happen. But I might, this will get some resistance, I'm sure, but we might crowbar in an extra live just so that we can have a little go through the studio kit. But that's obviously if everybody wants to see it. Some people might like the idea of receiving it and just following the instructions. So these are all the papers. I'm sort of trying to multitask. Very high energy this morning. I need to take a breath, sorry. I will calm down. Now, we have someone at the door. It's okay, Liam will crawl under and I will keep going. So, we have got this paper, which will work really nicely because it's a really nice busy one. This I think would also work really nicely because I'm gonna have to pull it up. I haven't got a close-up camera now that he's gone. But this has got quite a nice tight grid pattern in the background with the little stars. So that's very pretty. And the anchors would also work well. So what we need to do is have a quick assessment. To be fair, I don't think that really there are any that wouldn't work, apart from perhaps this one, because when we cut some of the smaller pieces, you may lose words altogether. It wasn't anyone interesting apparently, because he's come straight back and he hasn't pulled a face at me. So, oh dear, okay, it's Amazon. Right, so this is the paper that we're going to make with today. But as I say, just in case you've gone and got yourself the add-on papers, let's quickly run through. So is anyone making along with me? The door's just opened again, dear, hasn't it? Thankfully, we've got a really good security system here. Okay, so these papers are beautiful. I was actually asked in the unboxing about where this paper is, and it is hidden in here. I just changed the ratio. So this one would work really nicely. There it is. I just made sure that we got extras. This one is all zoomed in and there's the extras. But that one would work for a one sheet wonder, definitely. Oh, these are so pretty. I want to make it with all of them. Love the whales. These are really deep and really, really rich. This one would work as well. That one definitely would. That's the Silent Dreams, which is actually a larger pack than usual. We usually only put 12 in, but there's 16 in that one. So yeah, Shelley laughed and said, Amazon only ring the doorbell when you're trying to do a live. True that. This one would work wonderfully from Drift Away, as would this one. Okay, so one sheet wonders, you need to have the Drift Away, if that's how you like to make. This would as well, and this. That one would, that one would. If you use that one, do it on a dark card base. That would look lovely. That would. This one I would keep for something else. This would work, but I do still think that the tighter print, this one would work better. That would work. And I would save that for a different project. So there we go. We've been through both of those additional paper pads, but we are going to use this one. Now, here's our 6x6. There's different ways to do this. You can draw them on, you can go straight to your trimmer. It is entirely up to you. What I end up doing is drawing them on and drawing them on slightly crooked, so that when I take it to the trimmer, I feel quite embarrassed. So I'm just gonna go straight to the trimmer. So I'm gonna say the numbers as I go, and we will have a printout at the end. Leslie asked, how can we craft along when we don't have the kit yet? Well, because this is a one sheet wonder, it's just a piece of 6x6, and I know full well, Leslie, that you have got hundreds of kits from us, quite literally hundreds, and there's lots and lots of 6x6 in there, so maybe you would have got some of paper out and had a little go with that. But right, so this particular one sheet wonder is I'm going to cut straight down the middle at 3 inches, top to bottom, chop. And then I'm going to turn it the other way, and I'm going to chop at 3 inches. This one, that is going to be a card by itself, 3 by 3. This one, I'm going to chop at 1.5, both top ways and bottom ways. So I'm going to be making 4 squares. 1.5 by 1.5. Going to keep my little pieces. We're going to play around with orientation. I always do this, but I like the idea of... Oh, I've messed it up already, haven't I? For goodness sake. Can't take me anywhere. Right, there we go, that way. I like to know that the pattern is the right way continually, and then if I decide to do them all in a straight line, it doesn't matter. But there we go. Okay, this piece that's left, 6 inches by 3 inches, we're going to cut at 4 from the top. Okay, so 4 inches. Is this pace good for you, Lisa? Let me know. Now that I know that you're cutting with, I definitely want to be respectful. So you've got your larger piece and your smaller piece. We're going to trim these at 1 inch sections. Again, I'm going to keep the pattern in the correct order. So 1, 1, 1. That one's the middle one, and then that one was the one on the end. So that we've got that consecutive. And then these we're also going to chop at 1 inch, leaving us exactly the same, but short. So these pieces are 2 inch by 1 inch at the bottom. Is everybody with me? Are we good? Has that made sense? In all honesty, I should have done a print sheet for you all, so I am sorry that I did not get to it. But there we go, right, so that is what our 6x6 piece of paper looks like. And so that if you're watching this after the fact, you can pause it, because, of course, I've only got a green pen to hand, but we have 3 by 3. We have 1.5 by 1.5, and that's for all of those. And these are 1 by 4, and this is 1 by 2. So you can pause and copy that down. Okay, right. So now I'm going to create some mats. Now there is in the kit, let's get it out just to show you. We have got this really pretty self-adhesive glitter. Now, if you wanted to use that for some of your mats, have at, it will be great. This stuff is brilliant though. You peel the back off and it's all ready to go. I'm going to save this for another project, because one of the things that I absolutely love this for is really detailed die cuts, because getting glue on all the back pieces and having it splodge out is quite frustrating. So die cutting what is already double-sided, perfect. So I'm going to save that. But pop that back in. Okay, so we have our pieces. Let's move them to the edges where I'm less likely to knock them. I'm not going to say not going to knock them because we've met me. Now, when I craft with my kits, I always keep my specialty and my 2 peel-off bundles on the desk. Like, that's non-negotiable. They go into the back of the kit bag and I keep them together. And that's just because I can never pick just one peel-off. I love introducing new ones into the kit, so we'll have fun with those. But having these available, knowing that they work beautifully, makes all the difference. So I am going to pick some specialty to use. Now let's have a look which we think we want. Oh, I actually love them all. 1, 2, 3. Ah, there it is. I was like, there should be 6. Have I shortchanged myself? Right, so I'm just going to give them all a little audition, very much like the blue. I think I'm going to go with the gold mirror for this particular one because it will pull the pop of those waves out really nicely. All of them would work, so there is no right or wrong here. And it's another way for you to get to see my face, or get to see my chins. Never mind. Can't all be perfect, can we? Be intimidating. So, on the back here, what we're going to do is we need to do some more cutting. Now you can, if you're very careful and you're very good, get all of your measurements on. There's my pen gone. So, we need, should have done this beforehand. It was very naughty that I didn't. So we need to have 1.75 and we need to have that 4 times. So, get the ruler up the right way. Don't start. These 3 little beasties are going to cause me trouble. Right, 1.75. So I'm going to line up my ruler. 1.75 and we need 4. So we're going to come across again, 1.75. And I'm sure all of you super clever people can just add 175s. And if I wasn't live, I may attempt it. Not today. Okay. Yes, it is like Van Gogh's Starry Night. They didn't have it there. They didn't have any of the real ones there. I think they're a little bit on the concern side that it will get pinched. Right, 1.75. And I'm actually just going to chop all the way across. I'm going to be really reckless with this piece. And just chop. And then 1.75. And I need 4 of them. We'll get 3 going this way. I'm going to take my time with this, and I'm also going to say something that I found. That's how tidy my studio is. Found my corner chomper at the weekend. Well, just before the weekend, because I had to pack up. So, I mean, to be fair, we're not wasting loads, and we could save that. That could be useful. But I found my corner chomper. So we're going to play with that today. You don't have to. And there is also the little hand punch that we put into the September Super Kit. So if you wanted to, that would be quite fun to use. Right, so next, what do we want? We need one more 1.75, but that's going to kill off a whole area. So we're not going to do that. We'll do the 3 1/4. 3 1/4. I'm just going to put Liam in panic mode that we might want a little bit more of the gold mirror because I should have done this ahead of time. So I'm just putting him on notice that he has to panic a little bit. Running around now. Right, so what's remaining is 2 1/4 by 3. 2 1/4 by 3. So that one's done. 2 1/4 by 3. Ooh. So 2 1/4. If I spin this round and snip at 1.25, That means I have got one, completely lost the plot, 1.25 by 2.25. There we go. That's what I wanted. I've got one of those. These we can save for later. So I need another couple of those, and I need 3 of these. But these 3 I'm actually going to do in one big chunk. So I'm going to do 3.5 by 4.25. Does that make sense? 3.5 by 4.25. So 4.25 is there. I'm not going to want to stay on there because this pen is green and this is shiny, but 4.25 by 3.5, which is what that piece is. So that is that one. So we need these. This is what we have remaining. Oh, that's nice. So out of this piece, I will upload this nicely. Lisa's lost now. I definitely apologise. I will upload the mats with numbers. Usually I'm a good girl and I will ahead of time make sure that I've got all of my numbers written out and you have like a pattern to follow. However, this morning we were very busy having to deal with some administrative misery. Thank you very much, dear. So I'm going to give you a minute once I've done this. Oh, Lisa's got loads, so that's good. I'm pleased you have. Me too now. It's too big for this trimmer. So I'm going to scissors. Nobody look, I never do this. But because we're live, it's excusable. So I need one more of my 1.75, so 1 3/4. Chop you off. 1.75. I'm going to run through all of these numbers again so that you can catch up should you feel the need. And I need one more 1.25 or 1 1/4 by 2.25, so 2 1/4. So 1.25 by 2.25, 2 1/4. Right, that, I will have to make use of that because that's far too much scrap. That's really wasteful of me. Now, in case you are wanting to craft along, this, the 3 long ones are 3.5 by 4.25. Helps when I get the numbers right. 3.5 by 4.25. That's your big piece. Okay, goes with those. I'll put those up the wrong way. The 3 shorter pieces are 1 1/4 by 2 1/4, or 1.25, 2 1/4. Okay? You need 3 of those, 1 for each of the little pieces. This bad boy, he is 1.75. I don't know why he's a he, but he is 1.75. And we need 4 of those. And then this one is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. Okay? They are all your mats. Now there's lots of different ways to do the mats. You could make the 4 smaller squares, you could do them one big one like we have with this, or you could put these 3 on individuals. So whatever works best for you, but they are the numbers. I'll just leave those there for a minute so that they're on the screen. So now we've got all of our bits and pieces. We need 4 card bases. Thankfully, I was somewhat organised. And when I say somewhat organised, I found some that I'd already made. So there's 4. I've got top fold and I've got white. Now, in the kit, all of the cardstock would work for this, I would suggest. And I am just going to show you how. I do just prefer a white card base. That's where I'm comfortable. But, oh, there's white in there. We don't need to show you the white. But let's just grab. That's over the blue. Will look stunning. That's over the charcoal. Also looks really good. Over the pale, oh, over the pale blue. It really pops. And over the magnolia, it does. So it's one of the reasons that we pick the cardstock that we do for the kits, is so that they do look really good and it all works nicely. Oh, and we've also got our lovely starry net. I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to be using that on Thursday night. Thursday night is shaker night. Anyway, Technique Thursday. I do top fold cards just because it's what I prefer. You do what works for you. This is just a piece of American letter cardstock, split in the middle lengthways, scored at 5.5, folded in 2. Right, let's start playing. I'm going to start assembling. So this is the 3¼ mat by the 3-inch square. And we are going to, look at that. No sound. No sound. My mic says sound. Okay, anybody else? Right, I'm going to stick this down. I like a wet glue. You can hear fine. Okay, I'm going to carry on. Liam's on it, Meg. He'll be with you. Right. So I've used a wet glue because you get to you get a little bit of fuss time just to make sure it's in the right spot. And then once you know you've got it where you want it, pop a block, pop a heavy, a something, just to make sure it gets that really good. You can use a brayer as well. I always keep a clean brayer to hand. Do enjoy a brayer. And that will help. Let's move the card base out of the way. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to assemble all of these so that they're done. I'm going to do the big one with the 3 strips. Now, because they are going to be stuck side by side, I am actually going to keep the pattern continuous because the eye really enjoys that. So there are different preferences for this. My cardstock is having a little bit of curl. So dry here, so I'm just going to give it a very gentle. I don't want to bend it too much because it will crease. The gold will get sad. So that's helped a little bit, and it'll be fine once we put it under a block and once we've mounted it onto our card. It'll be good. Now everyone has their different method. Some people like to stick the outer 2 and then they can put the middle in the middle. I am more of a dry fit them all and then use something like, I've got no tape, use a washi or painter's tape or whatever you have, but take some of the stick off of it because it's shiny. In fact, the cameras are probably screaming at me for having all of this shiny on show. Sorry if it's being a bit much. But yeah, take some of the shiny off, lay them down. And I mean, use your ruler if you want to, but I find if you get the first one in, let's get the bottom for you so you can see. If you get the first one in the right spot, and when I say in the right spot, there is an equal border all around, pop a bit of tape on it, just like that. And then do the next one alongside it, keeping the gap at the bottom the same as in the middle and both top and bottom. And then press that bit down. So now these two bits of paper are in the right spot. So when it comes, she says, and then moves them, gosh. Do as I say, not as I do. Right, let's get that back into where it's supposed to be. You go like that. Right, now this one, as you can see, will fit in perfectly. So that's, of course it's not sticking because I'm live, it's not playing ball. Or it's because I'm being mean with my tape, because we all know how much I don't like to use my tape that often. Right, so let's get those actually in the right position. And if we stick down the middle, we have got a fighting chance. Right, better. Now, this one, we're going to wet glue and get it, oh dear, oh dear. Wet glue and get it down. Now, I'm sorry if at any point it sounds like I am telling you all things that you know, but I do like, because I know that we get emails quite regularly from people that say, I've just found your channel, I'm brand new to card making, I love that you do kits, you know, all of the lovely nice things. And so I do try to cover off, and also it means that if you're crafting along, you've got lots of time to be able to get to where I am and perhaps tidy up a bit after yourself, which is something that I clearly is, yeah, it's clearly not my natural state. Okay. So we'll get that into the middle. I'm lining up with the bottom piece of the pattern paper and the top, making sure that this distance is the same as this distance, giving that a nice press down. And then I've only got one more to fit in. So again, doing either side and then the middle will result in it being in the middle, but it won't necessarily result in the edges being in the right spot. So using the tape method, it just means that you will get those lines looking great. And some people are really talented at it. Christy, she just pop, pop, pop. I don't know, she's got an eye for the distance and it always works for her. So whatever works for you. And I'm now also going to pop this one under here. Let that get squashed. And we are going to move on to, oh, I get to have a little drink. Isn't that lovely? There we go. Sorry about the big gulp there. So now we are moving on to the 3. And these are the 1 1/4 by 2 1/4 panels. And I'm just going to assemble these on. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just stick it in the middle, get it down. And this gold mirror sitting around the outside, it's just so pretty. So very, very, very pretty. Because it pulls the gold, or the faux gold, that's in the paper right to the forefront. And it makes me very happy. It would be really lovely if when you went into the ocean there was gold everywhere, wouldn't it? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Let's pop those all under the blocks. Now, these ones, this is where we're going to play. The corner punch that was in the September Super Kit is exactly right for this as well. This one has got a 1/2 inch corner and a 3/4 inch corner. So the 3/4 inch corner is not as rounded. So I'm going to use the really rounded one, which is the 1/2 inch corner. And I'm going to do opposites. So this corner, spin it around, and then I'll do this corner. And I'm going to do that for all of my pieces. Now you can do all corners if you want. You can just do one, That also looks pretty cool. There are so, it's a really simple look, but just taking off the corners will, oh, I didn't push that in properly. That's a good example actually. When you're using something like this, make sure that you push it in on both edges and that it can't go any further. Spin, spin. Okay, so what I've done now is I've created these 4 tiles. I'm really sorry, I know they're super shiny on the camera, but there's lots of different ways you can position these. You can make it look like a flower. You can spin. You can have 2 touching. Like this is Background Builder 2 was built on this style shape. It's squashed square, or squashed diamond I called it. But they're really pretty. And the other way that we can go is like this. That also looks really cute. But that's just my personal preference. You have at. You make it your own. You do whatever it is you think is going to look best. Now, I'm just fitting these back together a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. This was one of the reasons that I was quite careful when I cut them, because it matters which corners I chop now, because I've decided that they're going to go in this order. It means this top one needs to have this corner and this corner removed if I'm going to keep my pattern consistent. So again, just as I did with the gold, pop that in, spin it all the way around so it's upside down, opposite corner, and chomp. Now, then I can spin it the right way up. I can sit that down. How cute is that? So this piece, I now need to chop this corner and this corner. So let's do that. The best thing to do would be to refer to them innies and outies like we do with the belly buttons. On this one, we're going to do the bottom innie and the top outie. I amuse myself. And then I throw things on the floor. Right, oh, make sure they are fully extended out so that your paper can go in. Chopping that one and this one, and it doesn't matter if the pattern, if you chop the wrong corner. Creative license. I'll be like, don't worry about it. I like to keep the pattern flowing, but there has been plenty of occasions where I've messed it up and not had the pattern flowing. So, but there we go. So that is now all chopped. Going to stick these down. Just going to do the same again, using a wet glue, whatever is your preferred method. The reason that I like a bit of wet glue when it's the border all around the edge is just that I like to get that placement. And I think that looks really cute. So I'll pop this one towards, I'll just show you now, I've got this really lovely stack of shiny and blue. I've put that one towards there in the pile. This one I will attach on and then make sure that we're in the right spot, and then I'll pop that towards the top there of the pile. It's all very technical. The other thing you can do is actually just get a bigger block or a book or anything that's got any weight, and you can stack them all separately. This is just because I haven't done that. And this one can go down here. And then finally, we'll do this one here. Now, there. So now I have all of my pieces, and I'm going to leave those to sit just for a minute. Let's have a little chat about the ephemera. Now, there is tons in here. And because this is my first live using this, I'm going to get my little pot, which I think my mum gave me. And I'm going to get all my little bits and pieces and I'm going to pop them in. And I'm going to have a little assessment as I go to see which I think I might want to use. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to use a boat. I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to use one of the lovely big florals. I'm not sure which. Perhaps, oh, maybe those. Maybe those. The boat, we've done the boat. We know we've got the boat covered. And I think perhaps one of the whales. Or maybe we'll use the drippy whale. Oh, I know. Sorry, everyone. I have actually got like a favourite piece and it's this one. We'll use this one. Let's use that. Okay, and then I can save my big whales. And look at that for a whopper. But no, I really do enjoy, God, they're all so pretty. I want to use them all. And I mean, look, even the flowers on the waves. It's just also very pretty. It's also lovely. Okay, and then we've got the sentiments there if we want to go down that route. Not to mention, I mean, even the seashells. Let's keep a few of the seashells out, shall we? Just so that we can have a little dry fit, as I say. Right, I'm going to pop all of these lovely little pieces back in. I am going to be completing a 5 in a flash, which we all know there's nothing flash about, other than my card making skills, of course. But we're going to be, let's get, oh dear, that one's slightly, little bit of paper surgery here, very, very gently. Love the wet glue. Now that doesn't look very pretty from the back, but I think what had happened was where there was a pile, that most recent one that we glued and put down had a little bit of a change of heart and shifted. So you get to go all by yourself over there now, as your punishment. In fact, let's get these all under there. We want to make sure that these last ones are properly glued. So tuck those all in and we'll let them do their thing. Now, card bases, let's talk about them. Let's do this as a side fold. This one's quite easy to connect the dots with. But how pretty is that? It's so straightforward, so simple, and even if it was just a bloom across the bottom, I think that's lovely. In fact, I might call that my first card. The next one, look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. With a stingray. Very, very straightforward. And then our triple. What do we do with the triple? It's like it's actually, it's a bit mean how much fun this is. It doesn't seem right, does it? I don't want to cover up too much of the paper because it really does. Oh, that looks gorgeous. We'll go with that. And then we've just got to decide what I'm going to pop on those ones. But I'll let those dry a bit more, but just laying the different pieces, and they all work. You can, it depends obviously what you want your card to be about. I am going to, I've done one floral, so I'm going to do this one with this beautiful stingray. And I think it works quite nicely because it frames him up to the top in the lovely sea waves where he would find himself, the boat, and then the flower. Yes, lovely. Now we've got sentiments to consider. So let's have a look at the stamp set. Okay, we have sending calm across the waves, let worries drift, sending all my love across the ocean, adrift but not alone, Smooth Sailing Sweet Friend. So they all work for nearly all of them. I wouldn't necessarily put sailing with this pretty little flower one down here, but Sending All My Love Across the Ocean, I think that works really nicely with the waves and the flowers because you're sending love. Or Sending Calm Across the Waves, that also works. Let Worries Drift. All of these are going to work. So I'm going to move them off. In fact, let's start with the big boat. We'll pop those over here. Okay. So for this one, it's probably best that I consider my sentiment now because of the space, and we want to stamp before we've got 3D elements. And what I want to do is bring everything up. Sending All My Love Across the Ocean, Adrift But Not Alone, and that even, if we went that way, Adrift But Not Alone, that fits quite nicely around the hull of the boat. However, I'm just going to check because I feel like we had the sailing boat in more than one aspect. We had them the same aspect. Okay. Have I already pillaged through this ephemera? That's also a very, very likely option. Anyhow. So, Adrift But Not Alone, or Smooth Sailing Sweet Friend seems really nice when there's the boat, and that is one of my favourite sentiments. So, I'm going to move the sailing boat out of the way. I'm going to position this slightly, like this is what I would call top centre. So it's at the top and it's centred on these 3 edges. I'm going to move it beyond top centre, not excessively. I'm still going to leave a nice white border, but I do want there to be the space for my sentiment to fit without it looking like it's been squished. Now, heat embossing this in gold is going to look really fancy, or in the warm navy. What I'm going to do, for the sake of being live, instead of heat embossing, I am going to stamp this using an oxide. And the reason that I stamp so often in oxide is because it's nice and thick and it usually gives me a really good coverage. Now, let's have a quick look. Lots of different options. I think the squeezed lemonade would work. I think we could get away with a brown, the gathered twigs, because there is some deeper tones in the waves. But I think chipped sapphire is going to look the nicest. So this is where everybody gets to take a drink whilst I faff looking for my chipped sapphire, because I still have not labelled my inks. Oh, we're getting closer. There we go. Chipped sapphire. Let's put that there for now. So this is my chipped sapphire oxide. We do also have the minis of these on the website, just in case you didn't have any oxides. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my little mini Misty. And I've lost, oh, I was going to say I've lost my magnet somewhere. There it is, hiding. I think if I've been out of shot today, I do apologise. I think we are closer than I usually am used to. So, sorry. You have to tell me if I'm not in frame. Right, so we are going to pop top centre and then just move a little bit further up, just so we've got some extra space. And then we're going to have Smooth Sailing Sweet Friend. Now I'm going to make sure that S lines up with the gold, because it will be really pleasing to the eye if that white border just continues down. Let's just make sure we've got enough space for our boat, and we don't. To keep that line going down for this sentiment, this is why we dry fit everything. So in the ideal world, And I could, at this point, say, okay, well, look, let's just switch out our ephemera piece. But I really want to use this one. So I'm going to make it work, whether it likes it or not. And, I mean, we can elevate it somewhat. Let's get, yeah. So the sentiment is right down there at the bottom. I've got my card base in. The top is where the fold is. Always check. Pop my magnet down. This magnet I bought because I was fed up with the smaller ones, and the smaller ones actually jumped together and smashed. And I bought this at a crop and just thought, yeah, that'll fit, and it's too big. So it's a bit irritating. Make sure you get the right magnet size is the moral of the story here. Right. Chipped sapphire. This is a brand new stamp, so stamping it ahead. In fact, let's do it. Let's not just... Using Versamark first makes your stamp sticky, because when in the manufacturing process there's a wash given right at the very end, and that wash leaves, it's, you know, a little bit of bubbly, soapy, it's soapy water it gets washed in. It's a final rinse. And that just leaves a tiny film on the stamps. So the first time you use them, they're really resistant to the ink. Whereas if you pop some nice sticky Versamark on, the Versamark then sticks to your ink pad, to the ink in your ink pad, and you're more likely to get a really lovely impression first time. And that has come out really nicely, but because we have got the stamping platform, we're going to do it again. I would like a really lovely crisp image. And now that that initial layer has been dealt with, I would call this stamp seasoned, and it's not going to be a problem anymore. So there we go, look at that, beautiful, smooth sailing, sweet friend. That's, I could stamp it again possibly, but I think I am happy with that. So I'm going to pop my chipped sapphire, I'm going to clean my stamp, big day. How are we doing? Are people still crafting along, or am I being too slow now? Or is this where you're going off scurrying, looking in your stamp sets to find something that matches up? Where are we at? Very intrigued. Okay, so let's pop this here. Oh, not in frame, very sorry. And then our sailing boat. And it is just a case of moving that around until you find a positioning that you like the look of. Now, it does go up at the top as well, doesn't it? Looks lovely there. It looks lovely everywhere, to be honest, but I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to give a bit of lift. Oh, where's my foam tape? Excuse me, dear. Could you help me find my foam tape? It's probably down there. Right, but for this one, I'm going to... No? Okay, time to improvise. We have got some foam tape over here, please, on the wall. I wonder where I've left that then. Probably right in front of me. Thank you. Okay, so this is a much smaller roll and it is somewhat thicker than what I usually use, but we will make do, and hopefully I've got enough here to see this video out. My little non-stick snippers. and I will pop one in the middle for support. Because this gold mirror has dried a little bit in the super dry climate that we live in, it just needs to have that little bit extra not going to shift element to it. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use my screen to line this up so that you don't get my head in the way, but in the center towards the top. There we go, give that a nice press. Foam roll is so small. You know what, Doreen, I need a new big one, don't I? That's what it is, because even Liam can't see it. Can he? He hasn't looked very hard, to be honest. And I probably will stand up and go, there it is. He looks with his eyes closed. And I'm going to pop that there. I think that does look really... Oh, no, he's pretending to look again now that I've said that. The very non-committal look from the chair. Peering around the room. Right, so let's pop some lift back here. And it means that I need double lift under the hull of the boat. And this is one of my favourite things to do. When I need to do a double piece, especially on a skinny bit like the bottom of the boat, snip them in half, stick one down, remove the backing, and stick the next one straight on top, not with your fingernail. Okay, and then we'll take that off. And then I do the same on the other side down here, because it's no fun when it sags. It doesn't look right. Honestly, everyone, I'm going to get up and it's going to be right in front of... It can only be in one of 3 places. I've already unpacked that one. I've unpacked this one, so it's down there. But he's enjoying watching YouTube, I think. He's not paying any attention to me. Right. Now, at this point, so that your fingers are out of the way, I would recommend using some tweezers. Again, still haven't found my reverse tweezers from where the kittens have relocated them for me. And I am actually going to allow, because there's some cutouts, I'm going to allow that gold to peer through so that there's a bit of shine in there. I think that looks really nice. And that is, without further embellishment, I think that is done. So that's card 1. Let's do card 2. Let's do the same again. We're going to lift up the lovely piece of patterned paper just to give it that extra bit of focal. I think we might run out of foam tape. Okay. So that is going to go there. We're going to lift, oh gosh, I'm not even in frame, sorry everyone. The camera is actually too far, I can't reach it from here. Next time I'll make sure I have it zoomed out a little bit more. Okay, so the stingray, we can either have him completely within the pattern, and I would probably have it moved further up, or we can have the pattern square and have his nose slightly out. Now I think the pattern further up looks nicer, and then you have the stingray within, and then we've got all of this space down here to choose a sentiment. So let's have a little look. Adrift but not alone, sending love across the ocean, sending calm across the waves. I think sending calm across the waves is really nice because stingray, the way they move, is very calming, it's very smooth. So we'll do that. Okay, so if we're going to have that there, I think, should we call him Ray? Or is that really obvious? We'll have Ray there. And then I think the sentiment fits like quite nicely in the arc of his tail. Sending calm across the waves. I mean, equally, God, look at me banging it around. As Carson would say, butter fingers. He got real enjoyment out of that yesterday. I can't remember what I dropped. Or maybe instead of trying to tuck it up into I'm going to have it coming down here near this area and pop that there. I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to just move these out of the way. Get my Misty back. And very carefully, and I'm going to stick with chipped sapphire, because if you find one that works, have him at an angle. You know what? That also sounds really cool. Oh, that's really nice. You know what? I will, Doris. Thanks for that. So I've had this really good idea. I'm going to put the stingray at an angle. You watch the replay. I laid it out that Doris suggested that. Wouldn't dream of it. Right. Let's open that up. I think it's my type A personality, liking everything to be straight. I was talking about this at the weekend, about how I'm no good at mixed media, because I want everything to be organised. Just make sure that we are good with that. Thing is now, with doing that, I actually want to change where I'm going to put the stamp. We're going to have that at the angle. Then I think the sentiment should either be central or on the edge. And I think on the edge and higher up makes that more organised. So, type A, here she is. We're going to pop that there. Move these out of the way. I do believe that is straight, and there's on the Misty there are lines etched into the lid, so you can actually get a look through to see, because those lines are etched and they match up with the line at the bottom. So as long as you've got your card base or your panel pushed nicely in, that will be fine. Now I'm going to Versamark. Are you still here, Lisa? Are you still crafting along with me, or have you given up now? My slapdash, making it tricky to craft along with. When it's a class, I'm really organised, but when it's a live, I have a general idea of what I'm going to do, but don't always end up sticking to it strongly. Let's give this a really nice inking. Multiple, and it's taps, it's not swipes. Tapping the ink pad on, giving it the opportunity to connect. Push that down and in. And when you've got a sentiment as big as this as well, something else that's really nice to do is to ink up the middle of the sentiment with like a really nice pale colour, like tumbled glass would work well, or speckled egg even. And then around the edges do the darker colour. Still here, every bit of the craft room moves slowly. Oh, bless you. Right. Okay, tucked across. Just to give it that second really nice, deep, crisp impression. How lovely is that? Sending calm across the waves. Okay, super quick little clean up. I'm going to try to see if we can use a different sentiment on each card, because if, as I say, one of my favourite things about a one sheet wonder is giving them away as a gift. because then you've got 4 cards that all match. You can put them into a nice little folio wallet, and where am I? There we go. And if they've got all the same sentiment, that's wonderful, because it means that they've got multiples to just pick from with the design. But if they've all got different sentiments, it makes them more usable for different occasions, doesn't it? Okay, so we've got sending calm across the waves. Let's stick down this now, the panel. Try and make sure that I'm in camera. Okay, and I'm going to centralize this top and the 2 sides, and the sentiment. So that is square. It's the mirror making it not look square. It is in the right spot. And now I have options. I can stick the stingray flat and put a tiny piece of foam underneath, or I can lift him up and have the tail moving free, which I think I actually quite like the idea of. So let's pop a few squares behind a ray, get him supported. And there are so many lovely decorating pieces that we've got in the embellishment bag as well. We'll go into some decoration at the end once we've assembled these. A couple of tiny starfish at the bottom by the sentiment, Doris. You're on a roll. I'm gonna get this one built, and then we will come back to them all and decorate them. But here we are, we have 2 assembled now. Let's get into our third. Now this is a side fold. I've done a top fold for a side, which is not ideal, but it still certainly works. And these I am quite simply going to pop towards the middle. I'm going to have my little branch there, and this one, I think Let Worries Drift is ideal. I think this works as a sympathy card. And adrift but not alone. Yes. But no, I want this one. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to dry fit the pieces with the sentiment. Okay, we'll lift all of this up. Pop that in, tucked right into that bottom corner. Let's move the ephemera just for now. So we want this piece to be right in the middle of our card. And then we get to decide, do we want to have wider gaps, narrower gaps? You know, it's what you feel most fits your style. And I have also got this slightly elevated, but that's just because I want to give enough room for the flower to sit and for the sentiment to be included. Let's move that over so slightly. We'll go there. Now, all of this gets moved out. I'm still going to keep those in that order because that's the pattern following. Let's pop that in there. We look at the lines. Well, it's not actually quite straight. So I'm just going to tweak that ever so slightly. That's better. Sorry if my head got in the way there, everyone. Now, open it up. We're going to Versamark. Now, planning ahead of time, and after you've done this sort of one sheet wonder once, you get a really good idea. I'll put the blue on it as well, shall I? You get a really good idea of how you want your cards to look and what you think is going to look the nicest, the cleanest, the clearest as well sometimes. Like this is going to be a sympathy card, so it's not going to be heavily embellished. The fact that I've managed to get a little bit of gold mirror onto a sympathy card, that's not something that I would usually think that one could get away with, but I think in this instance, I think it works nicely because the tones are quite muted in the waves, and it is calming. It's a very nice thing. Yeah, when someone needs a sympathy card, it's not something that they're necessarily thinking about, but being able to make something that you can send and offer to someone as a moment of comfort and to let them know that they're being thought about, something nice and calming like waves, definitely works. And I'm terrible at sympathy cards. Well, not terrible, it's just not my favourite, not my go-to. My go-to is cheerful and bright and or blue. Anyhow, let worries drift. Now let's take the ephemera piece. We're going to be popping these up. Now, using a ruler, like a T-square ruler, to make sure they're all in line at the top, you butt your card base up to the ruler and then you push the pieces, and then that's how you stick them if that's what you need. If you need a bigger ruler that you sit down or you can use the tape method that we used earlier, whatever works for you. Now, me sort of laying them on and getting a general idea often is enough. I'm going to pop a piece of foam behind each of these. Usually I would be much more generous, but as you can see, we're running low and Liam has given up looking. I think that looks really nice. So I'm going to take the tape off of the middle one and position that. I haven't pressed it down, I don't know if you noticed that, but I'm using the lines on my grid mat. Ah, he found it, what a hero. It is much smaller, but he found it. The lines on my grid mat, that is the middle, so I am actually in the middle of the card, and I am straight top to bottom, so I am now going to press that down. So these ones are much easier to get connected. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a gap, and I'm looking here and here, making sure that this parallel white line in the middle is equal, and then I know that we're in a good spot. And then when I do the same on the other side, looking at that, it leaves the same amount of white on either side. So make sure I've got this the right way up. Yep, because I want the pattern to continue. Or have I? Oh, I've confused myself now. I think it works both ways, but this is the correct way. Right. Yep, we're going with this. Now, same gap, and make sure that that parallel is equal top and bottom. There we go. And now I'm going to pop my ephemera piece. And I'm going to do that because I don't want it to be too proud. Like if this is a sympathy card, we don't need it to be screaming. So I'm going to put some foam behind this lower section here. These three flowers are each going to get a smaller foam square, if I can find them. If I've got any left. Just used up all the bit. Oh, we have. That's lovely. Right, so let's pop one behind here, here, and then across here. And then I'm going to pop a really modest amount of glue on these upper ones. I'm not too worried about these lower leaves. It's, oh gosh, I need to remove the backing. I actually quite like a bit of movement on a card. Don't get me wrong, you don't want it to sag or to bend, but because the rest of this is lifted, I think it's quite protected. It's not vulnerable. When you're partially gluing a part down, this makes them just an extension. So the way to do this now is hold the two outer foamies, because you know they're the ones that have to go onto the card base. Encourage it up, and then just press that down gently. And now, careful Doreen, you'll give him a big head. Now we have card number 3 assembled. So card number 4, card base, and we can take away our blocks. And now we get to make our flower. It's so pretty, isn't it? I really love this. And we could just go as simple as a little, that looks really nice as well. They all do. And they can go in the middle, they can go at the bottom. Or we could use just a piece of, it's almost like seaweed, it's not, but the moon. So many, well, the other thing that we could do is we could pop one seashell in each, because we have got extra seashells. We've also got flowers, and we've got, so we could do that. Dip the whale. This flower is so pretty. They all work, and it's just a personal preference at this point. And I think I'm going to go with this, just so that, you know what though, I'm not going to go with just this. I am actually going to use one of our drippy clouds, because we've got 2 of those, and it means that I can offer up additional inspiration elsewhere. So we could also separate these to have them in the middle. Try the tiny whale. Don't know that we have a tiny whale. We only have our circular whale, this one. It does look lovely, doesn't it? It's beautiful. But I am going to go with our cloud, because the sentiment that I'm going to use, let's have a look, is, I want to use sending love across the ocean. You could even use adrift, but not alone. Equally, what we can do is, we don't have to use any ephemera. This card is actually really pretty without. Let's stamp the sentiment, and I think I'm going to stamp it, not going to stamp it there, I'm going to stamp it around here. I think that looks really good. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to save my ephemera. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. Let's pop all of these lovely pieces back. Okay, and I am happy with my placement, she says. Let's make sure we're straight. Not quite. There we are. It's good. Lift that up. Gently encourage these out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop this back in. nearly used all of my stamps now. Okay. Also done it without the blue again, haven't I? Having a blonde moment today. Right. Okay. Give that a nice, make sure that's in that bottom corner. Sending all my love across the ocean. Gonna go once more. I think I could do with re-inking this one. It is one of my favourite colours. I think I might have used it. That's one for Liam to answer, isn't it, Doreen? Did Lizzie ever get her pokey tool back? Did Lizzie have to come and remove her pokey tool and remind to get her pokey tool back? What do we think? Okay. Now, I'm going to use my big mama tape because this is only 1 mil lift and I really like a subtle lift from the card base. I was always all about the big chunky 2 mil, get it up in the air as high as it can go. But now I think it looks quite subtle, a little bit more classy for me. Right. Okay. So there, let's move those. Now, in my embellishment bag, if I can find it on my desk, that was nice and tidy. There it is. Oh gosh, bash crash. Sorry everyone. Okay. In here, we have got so many pretty little embellishments, but we have also got these really lovely dies. Now, both of these dies are going to need some power, aren't I, dear? Because I'm going to die cut. That's something you can help with? Right, so yeah, if you can just bring the power over here. Right. Thank you. Just plug her in. Now, this little anchor, using the gold mirror that I've used already, is going to mean, and then, let's pop that one away. Then I got to use one of my scraps, which makes me feel better because I was being very wasteful with my, there we go. There, now look, we have this really pretty, to the side, to the centre, I think, or even over one, just one of the 4. I think that actually looks really cute right there. In the middle as well. Obviously you could also have used the helm because it's on its way, but I'm going to go with the anchor. And let's get these positioned down. Now, right, to make sure that we are in the middle. On my mat, can you see here 5 and 5? So there is a grid where I zoomed in a little bit closer than usual. So I'm going to put my card so that my fold is along a line and it's equidistant between these 2 lines, which means this dotted line is right down the middle of my card. So I can line up to make sure that that's the middle, and then I can do the same either side. Now that, just about straight. I think that is as well. Now I have a bigger gap in the middle than I do this way. Let's move that up. And I think I would actually prefer to move these down so that, oh, jogged that one, so that the cross in the middle is equidistant. I think that looks really nice. So, I'm going to take one away. Now, if you're not particularly confident about placement, on your foam, use some wet glue. Not tons of it, just enough, because it will mean that you can slide somewhat. So you can get that down, and once you've got that in place, one of the key things is looking at the top and at the side. And as long as they are balanced, you'll be fine, because then everything else will line up, she says, in theory. So, and again, if you need to use tweezers, I'm actually going to move that one out of the way. If you need to use tweezers to make sure that you get that placement where you actually want it, then do. There is no, up you come, didn't press down yet, thank you. There's no shame in making sure that you get it right by keeping your fingers out of the way, because my fingers are always getting in the way. So, remove the back, make it slightly wet to give us a bit of play time, and then do the same again. And I'm looking at that gap, this gap to this gap. So the further you go down, the more places you need to keep in mind, but the more straightforward it is, because you've got all of these different guides that you can refer to. And yes, Doreen, I ended up getting one of the little ones, because then that way I can keep it on my desk. And now I just need to work out a way to get power to my desk so that I don't trip over. So now I'm looking at these to make this grid, making sure the line at the edge is straight. There we go. And we now have, and I think that looks really pretty all by itself. I'm not even sure that it needs anything further, but I do love the anchor. Oh, I love it so much that I've just thrown it. I found it. It's okay, dear. Thank you. Ready to jump to action there. So many different ways that this would look lovely. I don't know why that looks like it's not sticking, but it is. It's not playing ball with me. Right. I think I'm going to actually flush stick this onto this panel. So, oh, look everyone, I've got a pokey tool back. That tiny little piece of the die hadn't come out there. So we'll pop that away, we'll pop that over there. Let's get some glue going on. There we go. We don't want too much. When it's a mirror cardstock, if you have too much and it splodges out of the sides, you do run the risk of matting your mirror, which is not fun. So I'm just going to hold that down for a moment. There we go. So that we get a nice flush stick. Look at that, shiny. Makes me very happy. I do like a bit of shine. So we have now assembled all 4 cards, which in my estimation are actually more than done. Let's try and find a way that I can fit these all in. There we go. So let's have a look. There we go. Kind of, nearly all fit. So they are the 4 from the One Sheet Wonder, and I would suggest at this point that it's done. You can call this beautiful, set, good to go. But I am going to do a very slight little bit of embellishing. We do have a wonderful embellishment bag with this kit. So let's get that out and just add a few little bells and whistles. Where have I put it now? It's right in front of me. Oh my goodness. Right. Dies. Let's have a look. So many lovely little bits and pieces. I mean, even if we just added a few little stars, they would look really nice. And the clouds, I can't tell you how much I love these. I squealed when I saw these clouds. Look at them. And they're glittery. Like, how perfect are they? Anyway, I must resist. I'm going to, on this one, I'm going to add a few of the little yellow stars. So where's my, right, so this is my Love from Lizi glue pen. Make sure that I have taken the cap off the top. Let's take a little piece of waste cardstock. I have some right here. I'm just going to activate it because I haven't used it for a few days. Come on. And these are great. There we go. So for the sequins, I'm just going to put a few little blobs of our glue down. Of course, the problem is this is like a low tech. Oh gosh, turn my mic off, babe. Quick. Oh no, no, we're okay. Sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze. Oh my goodness. Right. The wonderful thing about this is it's a tacky glue pen. However, it dries almost immediately and then you can't see where you've put it. So, oh, there's a bit there. So I'm going to use this because this leaves a white dot for me to follow, which is going to make that somewhat easier. But our tacky glue pens are fabulous. Right, I've popped a few down. I'm going to just tip out some of our sequins. When are we getting more glue pen refills? Ah, funny you should ask, Leslie. I believe they're going to be in by the end of the week. Or if not, early next week. One of the two. Sticky pen. I'm going to only use the tiny ones because I don't want to take away from the lovely paper. But I do want to add just a little bit of extra shine. The large stars would work really nicely as well. And it goes along with that whole sleepy seas, that the waves are acting as a sky and that there are stars behind the boat. There we go. Okay, so I've now, I mean, the card was pretty shiny to start with, but let's also just pop 1, 2, 3. We'll just add a couple of these really cute little stars around our sentiment as well. And I'm going to call that one Decorated. So let's just show you on the close-up. So our little stars, there's 2 different styles in the kit. You've got the larger embossed stars with a little hole in, so they're more of a sequin. And then you have these tiny, there we go, look. And then you can see you have these tiny little, almost like confetti stars, and they've got this really pretty AB colour to them. So this card I am calling Made. So I will pop that over here for a moment. Now this, I've got everything everywhere, haven't I now? Dear oh dear. This I'm actually going to keep really, really simple because it's a sympathy card. And I think adding too much might take from it. But we do have this super cute Laurel stamp. And it does make me want to include it somehow, but I think it's going to be too much. So I am very simply going to pop some gems between the sentiment and this piece, and I'm going to do 3. I do like how 3 look, so I'm just going to get those onto the knife. I'm going to put it right in the middle underneath that panel, and then I'm going to pop 1 on either side. That's the way I find it easiest. You can put them all at the edge, but I think in the middle here is going to be more pleasing. You could pop 1 there, but I think, as I say, I think it's going to work better. The alternative is you can do a row of them, which also looks really nice. I just don't want it to look too blingy. In fact, you know what? Let's pop those up, as long as they don't fight me too hard. Come on. And I'm actually just going to pop them on the flowers instead, rather than having an additional thing to pull the eye away. It's a good job I didn't press down very hard, isn't it? Come on. Up you get. Yay, we got them all up. And then I'm just going to pop 1 more in that centre there. I think that actually works better as keeping it simple, but also including that tiny bit of bling there. So I'm going to call that one done with Let Worries Drift. Now, this one, Sending Calm Across the Waves. I could, in a very pale blue, stamp a wave behind the sentiment. I think that would look really good. We've got the tiny seashells that we can decorate around. The laurel also, of course. But let's have a little... We could make Ray a lady Ray with a bow. At the end, a bow at the end of the plait, you know, like in your hair. I've got lots of options on what are we going to do with this one? These would look so pretty, but I'm going to save these to be like showstopper cards. If we try this on the close-up, we'll see if this works. Okay, so this is it hanging, but having the hanging stars, I think they're so pretty, and you get 2 of those in your kit, so you can really play with them. Dorisa said the starfish, and that is a lovely idea. I am looking to use the starfish in my 5 in a flash. Honestly, I've had so many ideas for this kit. It's been quite tricky to keep all of these different ideas in mind without stunting elsewhere. I think I am going to stamp this wave in a very pale blue. I think that is going to be, I think we're going to go tumbled glass. Oh, straight to it, isn't that lovely? So tumbled glass, and this is it's not an ideal time to try to start stamping because I've already got my 3D elements on there. But I'm going to actually stamp it off as well because I want it to be really, really muted. So inking up. Now I have used this before because of the stencils. So giving that a good inking. Piece of paper. Just going to stamp the majority, or I'm not going to because I'm holding it in the air. Stamp the majority of that off, and then I'm going to stamp again. So we'll do that again. I'm going to ink it up. Let's bring the ink to the stamp so that we can see what we're doing and make sure that we have a really good coverage, which there is there now. I'm going to stamp off there, and then I'm going to bring my card front back across, and I'm going to stamp down. And I'm going to give it a moment, allow that ink to transfer from one to the other. And that, I think, is really pretty. It's just like a hint of a wave, perhaps on the close-up. Mister, on the close-up, please. So we've got that really, really faint but very pretty wave coming in on the back. So I'm actually going to call that one decorated, because this also would work for sending a calming note to those chaps without them being overly decorated. Sending all my love across the ocean. Gosh, I want to use everything. This is not... I'm having to make sure that I'm not going to do myself out of what is necessary another time. And I think on this one I am going to refer to my peel-offs, and I'm going to use from the variety bundle. From the variety bundle we've got the star border, and I'm going to take from there, pull that one out if it will let me. In fact, let's not pull it out. Let's just open up, because all I want to do from here is take some of these little stars, because they are so shiny. I've lost it already. These are the waste, as it were, of, gosh, there, that star has a mind of its own. But this is the waste of our star border, and just popping those in. This card is already super shiny, but I think having just a couple of extra little twinkles. I'm going to move this one across because my OCD placement issues have become, thank you, there we go, that feels better. I don't want to take away from the papers and from the design, but I think now I am, it's lovely how it does that, isn't it, as you go. Now I feel like I have got 4 very pretty designed and, yeah, finished cards. A little bit of embellishment, but there's lots of lovely shiny paper that goes and really pulls out there. And I am going to call these cards completed. Which one is your favourite? Is there a favourite of the 4? Is it having the extra die cut, or do you like the jaunt and the stamping? Or is it having a sympathy card that's got some colour and some shine to it? Or do you like the boat? Which is your favourite? Please do let me know. Thank you ever so very much for joining me today. I have really enjoyed myself. This week on Thursday, our Thursday evening is going to be, it's Technique Thursday. So we're going to be making lots of shaker cards. Now, I've aimed for 2, but I'm gonna push for more if I can get away with it. Because in the kit you've got the acetate, you've got the sand, you've got the stars, you've got lots of lovely elements to be able to make. And we're going to have some real good fun. We're going to go through some proper tips and tricks, things that I do regularly to make sure that my shakers survive and end up looking lovely. If I haven't already had the pleasure of, could you please like this video? It does make a difference to us, and I'd be very grateful if you would take the time. Thank you very much. We will be back on Thursday. The design team have been crafting away with this kit. If you haven't already watched their videos, do. I think we've got 2 ready already for you to see. I'm happy to say, oh, I am still here. Apparently Liam's finished. It's like, get on with it, woman. Right, the design team have been making. We have got more videos coming. Really excited to see all of those. And we are going to have so much fun. We're shipping next week, starting Wednesday. believe. So if you've got any add-on orders, please make sure that they're in by 9 AM Mountain Time on Monday. We're also sending the Let's Make It Manly kits out with this kit. So these boxes this month are going to be exploding with goodies. I am so ready to get digging into all of these items. But anyway, right, as you say, Shelley, let's let Liam eat his lunch. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed today and look forward to seeing you Thursday evening. Until next time, please make something beautiful and share it with me.